Imagine waking up one day to find your entire world turned upside down. Picture this, a life that seems to be straight out of a fairy tale, where every day is filled with joy, laughter, and love. That was my life, or at least, that's what I believed it to be. I was living in a world where I thought I had it all. A loving husband, a supportive family, and a golden child of a brother who I admired and trusted more than anyone else. But as they say, appearances can be deceiving. Beneath the surface of this perfect facade, a storm was brewing, one that would shatter my world into a million pieces. One seemingly ordinary day, a cold shiver of realization ran down my spine. I discovered a chilling truth. The two people I held closest to my heart, my brother and my husband, had been conspiring against me. A sting of betrayal, sharper than a knife's edge, pierced through me. The brother I had idolized, the man I had vowed to spend my life with, had turned their backs on me, and the deception didn't end there. As I dug deeper, I found my bank account, my safety net, completely drained. Every penny I had worked hard for, every dream I had saved up for was gone. Just like that. As if the betrayal wasn't enough, they had left me financially crippled, stripped of my security and my dreams. That was the moment my seemingly perfect life began to unravel. The rug was pulled from under my feet, and I was left standing amidst the wreckage of my life, trying to make sense of the chaos. I had never felt so alone, so betrayed. A whirlwind of emotions consumed me: shock, anger, heartache. But amidst the turmoil, a single thought echoed in my mind. Trust is a fragile thing. It's like a delicate glass sculpture that once shattered can never quite be put back together the same way again. That was the day I realized that trust is a fragile thing. Confronting them was like standing on the edge of a cliff, knowing I might fall. The words I had rehearsed in my mind felt like stones in my mouth as I faced my brother and wife. The air was heavy with tension, a tangible manifestation of the betrayal that had shattered my world. As I looked into my brother's eyes, I saw not a shred of remorse. Instead, there was denial, a steadfast refusal to acknowledge the pain he had inflicted. His words were akin to a well-rehearsed script, a testament to the deception. "I didn't do anything," he spat out, his voice devoid of any emotion. It was gaslighting at its finest, an attempt to distort my reality, to make me question my sanity. Beside him, my wife stood silent, her gaze fixed on the floor. Her silence was deafening, a tacit endorsement of my brother's actions. I had expected tears, pleas for forgiveness, or at the very least an explanation. But there was none. Her silence spoke volumes, a painful reminder of the love that was no more. In that moment, I felt a surge of determination, a resolve to take action. The confrontation had laid bare the harsh truth. I was alone in this fight, and if I was to reclaim my life, I needed to stand up for myself. The love I had for them, the trust I had placed in them, had been used against me. But no more. I realized then that this confrontation was not about seeking answers or getting an apology. It was about me, about standing up for myself, about refusing to be a victim anymore. Their betrayal had left me devastated, but it had also ignited a spark within me, a spark of resilience and strength. As I walked away from that confrontation, I felt a strange sense of calm. The storm within me had subsided, replaced by a steely resolve. I knew the road ahead would be tough, but I was ready to face it, ready to reclaim my life from the ruins of this betrayal. In that moment, I knew what I had to do. Filing for divorce felt like ripping off a Band-Aid. The decision to end my marriage was one of the toughest I have ever made. It was a whirlwind of paperwork, but beneath the legal formalities there was a storm of emotions brewing. Loss, betrayal, and a profound sense of grief enveloped me. The home we had built together suddenly felt like an empty shell, echoing with the memories of a love that once was. The ring on my finger, once a symbol of unity, had turned into a heavy reminder of the trust that was shattered. Divorce was not just about ending a marriage, it was about mourning the loss of a relationship I held dear. It was about coming to terms with the fact that the person I had shared my life with was not who I thought they were. Yet, amidst this emotional turmoil, I could see a glimmer of hope. It was the start of a healing process, a journey toward self-discovery and resilience. I was learning to stand on my own 2 feet, to rebuild my life from the ground up. It was the hardest thing I ever had to do, but it was necessary. The road to healing was long and winding, but I was determined to walk it. In the wake of a storm, I found myself standing amidst the wreckage of what once was my life. But rather than wallow in despair, I chose to rise. I chose to focus on self-improvement, to heal, to rebuild, to grow stronger. I began by seeking professional help, understanding that my emotional turmoil was not something I could navigate alone. Therapy became a stepping stone, a safe space where I could unravel my feelings of betrayal and pain and start to understand them. Next came financial literacy. Having experienced the devastating effects of financial deception, I was determined to never be caught off guard again. I educated myself about personal finance, learned how to monitor my accounts, and how to protect myself from potential fraud. This was not just about regaining control over my money, but about reclaiming my independence. I also started investing time in myself. I discovered new hobbies, read countless books, and even went back to school. Each step, each new skill learned, each book read was a brick in the foundation of my new life. But perhaps the most profound part of my journey was the realization of my own strength and resilience. I had weathered an unimaginable storm, faced betrayal from the ones I loved most, and yet here I was, not just surviving, but thriving. I found a strength within me that I didn't know existed. Through this journey, I learned that self-improvement is not just about becoming better. It's about rediscovering yourself. It's about peeling back the layers of pain and betrayal to reveal the resilient core that lies within. And so, as I walked this long and winding road, I discovered that the most important relationship I could ever have is the one with myself. I learned to love myself, to trust myself, to believe in myself. And in doing so, I realized that I was stronger than I ever knew. In the end, karma had its way. The brother, once held high on a pedestal, faced the ruin of his professional life. The ripple effects of his actions were more far-reaching than he could have ever imagined. His reputation, like a house of cards, crumbled under the weight of his deceit. The consequences of betrayal were not just immediate, but lingered, tainting his name and his future. Meanwhile, I found a peace I hadn't known before. The turmoil that had once engulfed me was replaced with a tranquility, a quiet strength that came from within. I was no longer the victim of someone else's betrayal, but the architect of my own destiny. The importance of reputation became crystal clear to me. It was not just about how others perceive you, but about how you perceive yourself. Your actions, your choices, they all contribute to the story you tell the world, and more importantly, the story you tell yourself. The aftermath of this ordeal was not just about the downfall of my brother or my newfound peace. It was about the lessons learned, the growth experienced, and the person I became. Betrayal showed me the worst side of people, but it also showed me the best side of myself. In the wake of the storm, I found my independence. I was no longer tethered to the opinions or actions of others. I was free to be me, to live my life on my own terms. And in that freedom, I discovered a resilience I didn't know I possessed. I learned that betrayal can break you, but it can also make you stronger. It can shatter your world, but it can also be the catalyst for building a new one. It can strip away your trust in others, but it can also reveal the power of trusting in yourself. I learned that betrayal can break you, but it can also make you stronger. Looking back, I see how far I've come. I've navigated through the storm of betrayal and emerged stronger. It was a painful revelation, discovering the true nature of the ones I trusted most, but it taught me an invaluable lesson about loyalty and the importance of trust. The ordeal opened my eyes to the crucial role of financial awareness. I learned the hard way that keeping a vigilant eye on my finances and protecting myself from deceit is not just an option, but a necessity. The path to recovery wasn't easy, but it led me to a journey of self-improvement. I learned to invest time in myself, to heal, grow, and rebuild a life that is fulfilling and true to who I am. I realized that confronting the wrongs done to me was necessary for my own closure and empowerment. In this journey, I discovered the power of independence, the resilience that comes from standing up on your own after a fall. I understood the value of reputation and how one's actions can lead to lasting consequences. But most importantly, I learned the art of moving forward, to not let the past define me, but to learn from it and focus on building a better future. In the end, it's not about what happens to you, but how you respond to it that defines you.